Okay, hi guys, Mrwhosetheboss here, and this is a video of my top 5 upcoming smartphones in 2015. So this is going to be literally the best year we've had, and you know, the progress is just getting awesome. I mean, these phones are really starting to pick up. So first on this list is the HTC One M9. So the M8 was my phone for about 5 months and I absolutely loved it. So I think a larger display, definitely a boost from 5 inches is required. I mean, an increase in resolution is not necessary, but I think they will do it just to keep up. Now the Snapdragon 805 is going to keep things ticking over very nicely, and I mean this will be released earlier in the year when the 808 and 810 are obviously not going to be available. So the One M8 only had 2GB of RAM, but that was more than sufficient, so with 3GB I think this is going to be blazing. Now boom sound obviously is going to take an increase in performance, and you know, I hope they boost volume and boost bass a bit, and that's going to be awesome. Now I think what HTC actually did with their camera was really good. I mean, when you actually knew how to use the camera on the One M8, you could create some amazing shots, better than any other phone, and you know, shots that genuinely look like they were taken from an SLR, so I think they should stick with the U-focus, improve it, and definitely increase the megapixel count and add 4K recording. Now obviously this is also going to have HTC Sense and Android 5.0 for buttery smooth performance. The Samsung Galaxy S6. So this is probably most people's most anticipated phone of 2015. I think that a lot of people bought the S5 just on the grounds that it was Samsung, and I mean Samsung is becoming more and more of a common household name. So okay, I think that this one is going to be the most powerful phone when it's released, and I think that it'll have a Snapdragon 808 2.9GHz processor, and this is going to be insane. I think it should also definitely have 3GB of RAM. I mean, the S5 for some reason only had 2GB, and I don't think that's quite enough. Waterproofing and dustproofing have to be kept, and I think some serious improvements in the camera and S-Health are actually going to give Samsung users a more unique experience, which is slightly differentiated from the competition. I think TouchWiz alone just isn't enough to do that. The Nexus X. Now personally, this is probably the phone I'm most excited about, if only not just to sort of see what it'll actually turn out to be. So the Nexus 6 has absolutely blown us away. I think that although it's not come out at the budget price a lot of us were hoping for, in terms of specifications and the features it has, I think it's absolutely awesome. So to actually improve on that, I think that they should definitely not increase the screen size. 6 is really pushing the limits of what a mainstream phone should be. On top of that, the resolution I'm absolutely fine with. But I think performance, they should really go all the way. They should go with a Snapdragon 810, which is going to be available by the time this phone is out, and that's going to be incredibly fast, like literally 70% faster than the 801 currently available. 4GB of RAM, and their unique fast charge technology, which can further be enhanced by the time it's actually released. Now an f2.2 lens is going to allow the phone to actually have a very large aperture, so you get stronger depth of field effects when you take photos. So being a Nexus device, this is also expected to come with a new version of Android 5.1, which I'm just labelling Gummy Bear for now. The new iPhone. So now one thing I really hope Apple actually do is don't make an iPhone 6s, please. So I think that the sort of the iterative process by which Apple refreshes their phones is really getting old now, and people are just coming to expect it, and I think that to really succeed, Apple has to surprise people. So I think it should come up with a totally new iPhone model, something which is not very flexible, something which is really strong, sturdy. It can even be heavier. I know that some people think it's a backward step, but honestly I think the iPhones are too light. I think it has to boost the RAM. I mean, 1GB is really limiting in today's day and age. And I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't increase the resolution beyond 1080p because I think that's perfectly fine. So an idea that's been tossed around for the last few years is a built-in projector, and there are finally rumours that this will be appearing in the next iPhone, so fingers crossed. Also, improvements to Touch ID would be really useful, just to increase the speed if not anything, and perhaps improve the slow motion capture. The LG G4. So as you know, my current phone is the LG G3, and I more or less absolutely love it. So I think that in order to actually really improve on this, they're going to have to increase the screen size. 5.5 is good, but I think that, they're making slimmer and slimmer bezels, smaller and smaller bodies, so I think they can afford to increase the screen size just a little bit. Now, this is not something I particularly want, but knowing LG, this is something that is kind of likely at some point in time, maybe next year, maybe the year after. I think they will go for a 4K display. So yeah, this is going to impact performance, but it'll be pretty darn cool. Also, to keep that ticking along nicely, we're going to need the Snapdragon 810, which is just going to provide one of the best performances on the market. And I think compared to the rest of the phones next year, the G4 should be slightly overclocked when compared to them. I mean, this was the case with the G3, and let's face it, it kind of needed it. Another really big selling point of the G3 was its battery, so I think if they sort of push up the numbers just a little bit, including the efficiency of Android 5.0, I think we'll finally reach the magic 2 days. Okay, so it's all pretty exciting. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more.